Guys, back again with Late Night Shots, episode 24. Today we're here with the number one overall recruit in the class of 2019, Greg Kerkvliet.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, man?
Greg, welcome to the show. Welcome to Late Night Shots. It's a pleasure having you here. As always, you're going to be guest number 3 for Heavyweight Week. We're planning. We have a bunch of heavyweight guests lining up. Kind of just go back to the name Heavyweight Nation. So, welcome. You were somebody who had to get on. Me, myself being a Penn State fan, definitely was somebody we were looking forward to talking to. So,
Thank you.
yeah. We'll just start off with like we always ask. When was the first memory you have of wrestling? Like, how old were you?
First memory I'd have was, I'd say, just like first, second grade. I started wrestling before that, but just going up to the assembly room in Inver Grove Heights, just wrestling around with a couple of friends.
Yeah, I mean, we hear a lot from everybody that we've had on the show. Everyone kind of just says the same thing when they were young, kind of just messing around until they really start, getting into that competition. So, I guess we'll talk about that. Did you go to a lot of big tournaments when you were younger?
Yeah, I'd say anywhere from first grade all the way up to sixth grade. I'd try to hit all the national tournaments. My dad would always be driving me down to Iowa or Tulsa, different places like that.
Yeah. So we asked our guest yesterday. So did you win the Triple Crown?
No, I don't. I won nationals and then I went Tulsa, but I don't think I went to arena.
Yeah, that was the same that our guest yesterday said too. That they were always one short. They won the one tournament 3 times, the other one they won 4 times, and it just never matched up.
Yeah.
So obviously you had a dominant career, being that young and being able to win those big tournaments like that. So I guess you could talk a little bit about how that kind of elevated your your performance when you got up into the older grades.
I'd say the way that elevated my performance was growing up. I kind of always had an expectation for myself to win, whether it was my expectation or just people's expectation for me. So when I didn't win, I kind of felt like something was wrong and that something's got to change.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely hear that a lot too, setting goals and kind of, putting that pressure on yourself to win and, win this tournament, win that match that, maybe you took a tough loss. So I guess we could just hop right into so when you were going into 7th grade, were you somebody that was known, that was going to be somebody who's going to be an issue, somebody who's going to be really, really good?
I wouldn't necessarily say that. I'd say my 7th grade year, I had a 20-10 record, so I was kind of a middle of the pack guy, kind of like a underdeveloped 120-pounder.
So an underdeveloped 120-pounder in 7th grade, and then what kind of changed for you that summer going into 7th to 8th grade that you kind of got a little bit better?
I'd say hitting the weights a lot harder. For the most part, I usually always had technique. I could always usually hang with guys there, but just fixing my mindset in matches and just being strong enough to compete with those guys.
Yeah. I mean, you definitely hear that a lot about it's a lot of mental game. Wrestling, the sport is just, it takes a beating on your mind sometimes, and it'll beat the brakes off of you. So I mean, definitely you see a lot of guys that have those 2 years, especially in the states that allow 7th and 8th grade to wrestle on varsity, where you're wrestling juniors and seniors that are definitely better developed, grown into their bodies, and you're 13, 14, 15 years old wrestling in 7th and 8th grade, and sometimes you get the guys that get those big wins and end up being a 7th grade state champ, but they're slim and far between.
For sure.
So how did that 8th grade season play out for you then?
8th grade season, I got all the way up to 152. It was kind of the same deal, a little bit of a better record. Went into the state tournament. I think I won my first match. No, I think I won my first match, and then I ran into Brady Berge second round, so that was a bit of a tough one.
Yeah, running into Brady Berge, and now how do you feel being in the Penn State room with Brady Berge? I'm sure you're completely different sizes now. I'm sure, and I'm sure a match like that wouldn't even be close nowadays.
Yeah, no, we joke about it and we talk about it. I always give him crap for it. Always
Yeah.
saying stuff like, "Ready for my rematch."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's definitely still light, right? He wrestles what, like 165, right? Like around there.
Yeah, I think he walks around right in there, 165, 160.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, hey, you're in eighth grade, didn't quite, get where you wanted to be, on that state podium, but I'm sure we're gonna talk. I'm gonna pass it over to Akil, and he's gonna, talk you through the rest of your high school career and how, the jump of improvement you had from there on.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
yeah. So you're 170 now, your freshman year, because you're steadily making that weight jump. You go from 120 all the way to 52, and now you're going to 70. So it's like 18 pounds on top of that. you know. And then this is where like the historic run really starts, to that 4 state titles. Like, what was it like? Because I'm assuming now, like, you feel a lot more physically dominant. Like, your body's just maturing more, and then you're being able to like physically dominate people at this
Yeah.
point. Just how did that feel, like in general, that bump?
Um, I didn't necessarily feel that in ninth grade, being able to like physically dominate people, but I was definitely strong enough to compete. And then I would say that a big part of my wrestling is my technique and being technical.
Mhm.
So I'd say that like physical wise, strength wise, I was still developing. I still am today, but technique wise and mindset wise, I got a lot better.
Yeah, 100%. Because you're like, I think you're probably the strongest like upper body dominant heavyweight I've seen so far. You know. Yeah, and then you got some monsters out here squatting like 800, 900 pounds, which is crazy just to me.
That is
See that,
crazy.
so your freshman year, you make it to the state tournament where you did not place the years past. You ran into a couple studs. What was it like your freshman year?
My freshman year, it was exciting to get there. On the way to the finals, I wrestled a couple of guys that beat me earlier in the year, so I'd say that those were like huge confidence boosters. And on top of like, I would still like mindset wise, I think I'd still be a little nervous going into it. And I just remember like heading into the quarters or like the round before the quarters, I like got sick. So being that sick, I kind of just threw a caution to the wind,
Yeah.
going for upper body throws that I usually wouldn't. And I'd say just wrestling free is mainly why I won.
Were you like the favorite to win the tournament?
No, I don't think I was.
Yeah, so you kind of that insane jump from your eighth grade year to your ninth grade year. So honestly, you probably be more confident, just like competing better. There's
Yeah.
nothing really behind it. And then you win that title freshman year. So now people are like, "Oh, this kid's gonna be a 4-timer now." That's a lot of the talk you're gonna hear at this point. And then you come in your sophomore year. What are you, 95?
Yeah, sophomore year, I was 95.
Yeah. So you're 95. At this point, you're like one of the top guys. I think you're the favorite to win the title, right?
Yeah,
And now you're starting to like show more dominance in your wrestling.
yeah.
You're still extremely athletic, extremely strong. Your technique is on point, and then you're just kind of bullying guys. So you went undefeated this season, right?
I don't believe so.
In
I
this,
don't think I went
you
undefeated.
weren't undefeated.
I
Do you
think I
know?
lost. I think I lost to Jacob Warner.
He's in Minnesota.
No, it was at like those national
Yeah,
tournaments, such
but
as
you
the
were under.
class.
Yeah, but you were undefeated in the state of Minnesota.
I think so. Yeah.
So that's again a big accomplishment. So like you're the favorite to win the state tournament. How's it go this year?
Yeah. It went to plan. I'd say kind of just wrestled a good tournament throughout. Just wrestled my match, won.
Yeah. Did you pin the kid in the finals, or was it just?
I don't think I pinned the kid. I think it was a regular decision or a major.
No, still a second state title.
Yeah,
Just like one step closer to that point. I kind of rushed those 2 years because what people want to hear about is your junior season
yeah.
and the match that went down. So I think you're ranked number 2 in the country at this point at 220. You're pretty much murdering the entire field at this point. And then you guys have Apple Valley.
Yeah.
What really caused you? People were hyping up a potential matchup between you and Gable Stevenson, but you didn't have to bump up. What kind of just like feeding for competition, or just felt like it?
We don't usually face Apple Valley, and my coach is a guy who kind of likes to go after challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So he came to me and he was like, "Hey, we have Apple Valley on the schedule. What would you think of bumping up?" And I was all for it. Not one to run from competition.
Did you and Gable know each other before this? Because you're both like the top guys in the country at this point.
Yeah, we would train together down at the U, or like just a couple practices.
Yeah. So did you actually weigh in at like 220 that year, or were you just like?
I think I weighed in a little lighter. I never cut in high school.
Yeah. Because I don't think Gable was that big either. Just maybe like 235, 240 at that point.
Something like that.
So I think Gable was ranked number 1 in the country at this point. It's his senior year. Yeah, he's ranked number 1 in the country. You're ranked number 2. The match, first period. Both of you guys getting on a couple leg attacks. It's just crap. The environment's really hype, right? And then you have I remember this one shot you took. You were like standing on the right side of him, and he snaps you, and then you like sweep to the other side. And that's like one of the most athletic things I've ever seen a heavyweight do.
I can't say I remember a whole lot about that match.
I've watched that match a couple times, but like nothing really interesting happens until you have a couple flurries in that match. They get people hyped. I remember there was one scramble at the beginning of the third period. Like, once you pick the bottom in the third period, he lets you up. Like, what's your main thing that's going through your head there?
I'd say my main thing kind of going to my head was that if I'm going to win this match, I got to go find an attack. I got to try to make something happen. And didn't end up doing that.
Yeah, I mean, like when you had choice the third period, I see you like looking at your coaches a little bit. It's like, do I want to go under this guy? Or, like, do I want to pick neutral at this point?
Yeah, that was kind of like going through my head. So I didn't know, like, I'd like to think that I'm pretty good on my feet. So I just thought maybe I should probably give it up a chance, go neutral. But my coach was pretty confident I could get up, and he ended up cutting me.
Yeah, because you're probably not a guy who's had trouble getting out from bottom, but like Gable's just a whole different challenge right there.
Yeah.
Probably not wrestling national rank guys like on the regular. So no, you drop that match 3-2. At this point it's just extra motivation. You might just need like that little extra push. Just push your work that a little bit harder. And then,
yeah, I would say so. It was a good milestone to show me where I'm at against nationally ranked guys. Well, number 1 guy in a weight class that I'm gonna end up being in the next year.
Because it's not like you had anything to lose going into this match. Like Gable was the favorite, expect to win by like I think 4 or 5 points at this point. And then you might see this, you might not pay attention to it, but after the match in the interview, he's like all respect for Greg Kerkvliet, but it was not supposed to be this close. And if we wrestle again, it won't be.
Yeah, I actually think I did see that interview.
You guys are definitely going to wrestle next year. So are you going to keep that? Yeah. I doubt Gable's going to see this. So you can say what you want.
Hey, man, you're my pick to win the natty. Just going to put it out there. I made it public like 4 weeks ago. I said, watch, the freshman phenom, he's coming. Penn State's going to be back on top with the heavyweights. I think, they if they planned it right with all these recruits they got coming in, they could create that upper weight murderer row and just have 1, 2, 3, 4 guys in a row that just pound people.
It's the ideal plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever cut weight throughout high school?
No.
You didn't.
I just wrestled my natural weight the whole time.
He just
You were
moved
just
up.
like, yeah, because I was just wondering, like, would you went heavyweight that year if it weren't for Gable?
No, because I was still a little small. I would usually weigh in 210, 212 every weigh-in. So,
But you were like, you're strong enough and athletic enough to just like chill at like that 210, 215 range and still
yeah,
dominate everybody.
yeah.
So, of course, not now you're basically pinning your way through the entire state tournament.
Yeah, junior year, I think I pinned my way through that.
So, now you're the guy. I think you're ranked number 2 coming into the season at heavyweight behind Colin Schultz, which is kind of where you had to be ranked. I don't think you've wrestled Schultz, and Schultz
No, I've never wrestled
and
Schultz.
other national ranked guys at this point. So you come to the season, I don't think there's any real competition. Did you have like any notable matches, guys you wrestled?
Um, my are we talking about my senior season?
Yeah.
No, actually, my senior season, I didn't spend my full year at Simile. I actually went out to the Olympic Training Center, did a couple international tournaments there, and then I tore my ACL, came back home to Minnesota, rehabbed it, and then like 4 months later, I decided to just finish out the high school season in
Yeah.
Minnesota.
You just wanted to close off your fourth state title.
Yeah.
One notable match I saw was I think it was your first round match in the state tournament where you pinned the kid in like 10 seconds. I remember you didn't even grab a leg. The kid tried to go front headlock on you. You just lifted him up and dropped him. It was on track wrestling. I was like, hold up, that's not. It was just interesting.
Yeah.
And your body type is like so lean at heavyweight. It's weird to wrestle.
Yeah.
So yeah, you close out one of the more dominant high school careers, 4 state titles, I think mostly undefeated for the most part. Yeah. So you're committed to Oklahoma State before, and then you end up switching that to Ohio State. You
Yeah.
wrestled Ohio State for the majority of your redshirt season. Was that an Olympic redshirt or just a normal one?
When I got there, it was supposed to be an Olympic red shirt, but I don't know what happened. Apparently, I took too many classes. I just wasn't aware of it, and it never went through as an Olympic red shirt. So that was just my regular red shirt.
So you technically can take an Olympic redshirt this year.
Yeah, and that's I still have that option.
Is that something you'd probably do, or?
I don't know. That'd be up to my coaches with not having a full season really.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Because you really, you get that opportunity to be at the Olympics. You really don't have to have that wrestle off between you and Neville's. Neville's is extremely solid dude. He can get that job done at heavyweight, and then you can spend your time more wisely practicing for the Olympics. Because you're gonna have some tough guys in that weight class too, especially with Cassioppi coming in also. Have you wrestled Cassioppi?
No, I have not.
Haven't. Like a lot of these matchups in freestyle, you're seeing like the older guys just not wrestling freestyle anymore. Like you got Kuhn, who's come like 30-some pounds. He's probably coming back to Greco, and I don't even know how much longer he wrestles that for. Don Bradley is probably going to be for a couple more years. Tony Nelson might not even come back.
Yeah.
So like the weight class is evolving. You have, I think it's Gable and Gwiz at the top right now. You got yourself, Cassiope. Yeah, and then you got like some other guys chilling back.
Yeah.
So you're at Ohio State. You're practicing with Kyle Snyder. You got Gary, and you got Colin Moore, right?
Yeah.
And then Mardesi's coming in every so often.
Yeah.
So, what was that like practicing with guys like the caliber of like Mardesi and Kyle Snyder?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, you can't get a better practice partner than Kyle Snyder.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's enough said there. Kyle Snyder's one of the best wrestlers in America, or even in the nation, in the world.
Yeah.
So,
Like at this point, people are like, okay, you're going to Ohio State. You get to practice with Kyle Snyder. Colin Moore's the best 197 in the country at this point. And then, Gary's making moves, right?
yeah.
And then you have Kyle Snyder who transfers to Penn State. Is that kind of what prompted your decision to do that, just to get better practice partners?
It was like a large amount of things that prompted that decision, but I would say that it wasn't because of Kyle Snyder, but it didn't hurt that he transferred.
I mean, you kind of have to think about it. Oh,
you got it.
Yeah, you kind of have to think about it in a way like this too. You're going to Penn State. You transfer. You got Snyder there. You got Kassar there. You got Nickel there. You got both of the Neville brothers there. Just those are guys that are in that 197 to heavyweight range that are just some absolute dogs that you could practice with. I mean, you have a wide range of different styles of wrestling there too. That would definitely be a good move for you that you did.
Yeah,
so.
You can't go wrong with that group of guys.
And especially a coach like Kale.
Yes, yeah.
Exactly.
You're practicing. Look, Kale's an Olympic champ too, and guys like Bo could definitely wind up being that. And that's just you have like so many people to practice with at this point. It's like you get every look possible. Kassar gives you that straight speed. Bo Nickel, you have to wrestle with. It's like a bunch of funkiness. Really, he's come with. Seth Neville, his size will never be an issue. Nick is probably like the most all-around technical dude right there. So, and then it's
you
just
got Kyle Snyder too.
Yeah, Kyle Snyder is just he's just Kyle Snyder. There's nothing really you can do to stop that.
Yeah. I mean, I can't speak for the atmosphere at Ohio State, but I've been to camp at Penn State 3 years. The atmosphere just in that wrestling room it's wild. At the same time, you see Kale Sanderson, someone who could flip a switch like that to be, the super nice, funny guy. All right, it's time to wrestle. It's time to coach. It's time to, kind of get in the zone with everybody. I know that you guys play a lot of dodgeball. Surprisingly, yeah. I mean, we've had some fun times there. I can't play in dodgeball with the team, but the atmosphere in that wrestling room is just unmatched.
Yeah, I've been to a lot of schools, seen a lot of places, and I'd say there's nothing like Penn State, and there's just nothing like the coaching staff they have. I mean, why wouldn't you want to be there?
Yeah.
Dude, some of these
No, you're good. Go ahead.
These like the guys that transitioned to like MMA after like Ed Ruth and like Jimmy Lawson. Do they come back at all?
Not that I've seen. I've only been there for about a semester.
All right.
A little more than a semester, but I haven't seen those guys back yet.
No. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you transferred to one of the most dominant wrestling colleges in the last 10 years. Definitely a smart decision for you. So how are you feeling coming in, to this new environment, this new practice room, this new team, and seeing a guy you see Seth Neville's there, who's in that starting spot after Kassar goes down. How are you feeling? Seth Neville's was somebody you beat before, right? Before you transferred?
No, I never wrestled Seth. I wrestled his brother,
AJ?
Yeah, at Fresno.
Yeah. So, a guy like that who, he had an all right season, coming in, how are you feeling that way? Where you were like, all right, this is somebody I could definitely, end up beating or end up, having at least some good matches with?
I mean, it's the same way that I walk into every match.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do what I have to do. Nothing changes. So.
Yeah, so one of the big matches I think we kind of skipped is you're wrestling at the U23 World Team Trials. And you wrestle a returning All-American, Jordan Wood, in that match. It's probably one of my favorite matches of yours to watch, It starts getting, like, insanely violent. It's nothing bad, but, it starts getting violent. I think it's like 10, 15 minutes of blood time in there.
Yeah.
And then I remember this one move you hit. He tried to go body lock on you. And, like, I never knew you could throw before this, and you just picked him up and went, like, full suplex on him.
Yeah, I've got a couple throws up my sleeve. I just never break them out.
Yeah,
Why not be safer?
yeah,
But in a match like that with a guy who's Jordan Wood, you
yeah,
just gotta let it fly.
yeah. And yeah, that's like the main thing I saw that people were like, because people didn't really know if you can compete at the college level, and then we saw that match, they're like, oh, this kid's like the real deal right now. Because that's what they say about that's what they say about like most heavyweights
Yeah,
transitioning to college. You see the guys like Gable ranked about, I think he was ranked 12th coming into the season. Cassiope was ranked in the 20s. Guys like Neville's weren't even ranked, and these are all top 5, like the most recruited guys out of high school.
yeah.
You know, so if you don't redshirt, you wrestle the season. A guy like Colton Schultz has a red shirt also. So you guys are basically essentially in the same class if that happens. A guy you've never wrestled before. I think he's the only you guys are the only 2 real studs coming out next year, like out of red shirt. What would you feel like going into that match against him?
I mean, I've wrestled a lot of big matches. I've wrestled a lot of really good guys. I mean, it doesn't get much better than Anthony Cassara. So it's just another match. I know what I need to do. Nothing changes.
Yeah. So yeah, that's for the most part, I think you guys have a duel with Minnesota. This is gonna be the matchup everybody's watching. You versus Gable. It happened in high school. It's gonna be hyped up more, especially because after what Gable said after that match. If you guys wrestle again, he doesn't think it's gonna be close. And
How
Yeah.
mad would you be if he ducks you?
What was that?
How mad would you be if he ducks you? If they
I
send
know.
out their backup?
I know. Like the type of guy Gable is. He's a good guy. It's not something he would do.
Yeah.
He
he was
doesn't. He's
embarrassed.
not one to duck competition.
Like just the amount of crap I think he would get for that. I don't think it's really.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be worth it.
Like you'd get more crap for ducking you than just losing. So
No, yeah. People say like he. People say he ducked Mason Paris, but he didn't duck him. I heard he was hurt for that.
yeah,
Yeah, I was
I
gonna
don't even
say
think he was in
that.
the country at this point. I think he was
What was
still.
that?
I think he was still coming back from the international tournament.
Yeah, he had a lot going on.
You know, he won that match at Big Ten, so nobody can really say that anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it was a dominant match too. So yeah, Derek, you can talk about some other stuff if you want.
I mean, you're somebody that you're definitely going to have to watch out for this season. You're going into, a field of heavyweights. You got guys like Matt Stencil, Trent Hilger, Mason Paris, Tony Cassiope, Gable Stevenson. You got different types of wrestlers. You got some some bigger, wider, heavier competition. You got some guys that are, right in that like 125, that 225 range. You got some guys that are super athletic, some guys that usually, slow the pace down. You got a guy like Tony Cassiope who's almost like that Adam Kuhn, Sam Stoll type of build who, but when he wants to turn it on, he could turn it on. So do you think you're going to have any problems wrestling any guys like that are, kind of changes of style?
I wouldn't say so. I'm confident in my coaches. I'm confident in my practice partners. Whatever we need to do, we'll do to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, Akil touched on it a little bit. You have a wide range of guys to practice with. You can kind of
Sure.
pick and choose on, what match you have that week. If I'm wrestling a guy that's, a little bit more athletic, a little bit stronger, I'm going to wrestle with Kassar. I'm going to wrestle with Nickel or Snyder. But if I'm wrestling a guy like Cassiope or somebody who's going to try to slow the pace down and, kind of use his weight, I'll wrestle either one of the Nevilles. Like, that's just something, you have such like a great and like vast wrestling environment there, which I mean, Ohio State, you would have had Gary Traub, Tate Orndorff, Kyle Snyder,
Not
Amar
Snyder.
Desi. So, I mean, at that point, you lost Snyder, but you still had, a decent amount of people that you could have wrestled with there, too.
Yeah.
But, who wouldn't want to go to Penn State?
Exactly.
That's probably almost what every wrestler's dream is at one point in their career. Like, hey, I want to go to Penn State.
Something about having Coach Kale and those guys in your corner.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
wrestling in Rec Hall is just It's a crazy environment too.
The Bryce Jordan, yeah.
Yeah. So I want to get your opinion on a couple of these matches for the Olympic trials. I can't really ask you the whole Snyder versus Cox thing. Kind of have to say Snyder. Can't ask you about heavyweight. Can't ask. Damn. I don't think I
Never
can
mind.
Oh yeah, no, JB or Dake.
JB or Dake. I've had
Uh-oh.
I really do. I like Dake a lot as a person. I've had some person to person conversations with him, and he's a really good guy. So I go with Dake.
Okay.
I also have to
Because I
agree
have
with
an
it.
interesting take on this match. I think Isaiah Martinez beats both of them.
Really.
Yes.
All right, Isaiah Martinez is a great guy too, and
He's the only guy
he's
who
a
followed
really
him
good
as
wrestler.
so, 86 is basically set for David Taylor. I don't think anybody's really there.
Nah.
There's 2 out of 3 chance at 97. It's either Bo, Snyder, or Jaden Cox. I'm pretty confident that no matter who wins that weight class, they're guaranteed at least second. The
For
main
sure.
problem is whether they can beat Sajid Live or not.
Yeah.
And you wrestled at the international stage a bit at heavyweight. So you've obviously seen guys like Taha Ghul and Gino Petriashvili wrestle.
Yeah.
So what's your opinion on these guys and whether either you make the Olympic team or whether it's a guy like Don Bradley, Nick Wasdowski, or Gable Steveson? How do you think they're going to stack up against guys like Taha and Gino?
I mean, they're obviously anybody who wrestles those guys, you got to be on your A game.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be ready to go. Those guys wrestle hard. They wrestle at a high pace, and they're always wrestling through positions. So it's going to be a tough match, but it's definitely doable.
Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, you qualify there, and you find yourself in that gold medal match, and you face a guy like Gino, who he's a 3-time Olympic gold medalist going for a 4, which that will kind of pull him away from the pack, basically making him the best. What'd you say?
No, he's not.
Who's the 4-timer then?
That's the Greco dude.
Oh yeah, that is the Greco dude.
Okay, so before Derek says any more dumb shit, so I got 2 questions, and then I got the conspiracy theory, which I came up with. So yeah, if there was one match you could from any point in your career that you could have a redo, what would it be?
Gable.
I wouldn't say any matches. I believe every match happened for a reason. I believe every outcome happened for a reason. And if I didn't win that match, it wasn't in God's plan for me to win.
Okay. Are you big into watching film at all? Or?
Yeah, I watch a ton of film.
Yeah. Because I could tell when you wrestle guys, because your finish rate is almost 100% on most guys. So next question is, if you could wrestle any heavyweight from any point in time, dead or alive, in any style, freestyle, Greco, or folk style, who would it be?
Any heavyweight. Taha Ghul.
Taha. He's a guy you could potentially see yourself wrestling in real life,
Yeah, exactly.
A guy who presents a lot of unique challenges. I think he's on the taller side, right?
What was it?
He's on the taller side.
Yeah, he's 6'3" or 6'4" or something like that. He's a little bit taller than me.
Yeah, I think he's the same style as you, but he prefers that lefty rush, and again, just a single, and then his lace is probably the best in the world at this point. Yeah, so guys no, what was I gonna say? Conspiracy theory. Okay, so it's not gonna make much sense to you, but Alexander Karelin, 3-time Olympic champ. Rulon Gardner did not make the Olympic team, the one before, right, in '96.
Yeah.
Somehow gets called in, I think, as an alternate in 2000. Somehow makes a run to the finals. Karelin's out here teching his way through the entire bracket. Rulon's basically winning 1-0. And as we know, Rulon got that penalty point, knocked off Karelin in the finals. Considered by some people the biggest upset of all time in sports. You know, a random farm boy knocking off the best wrestler of all time, right?
Yeah.
So on that day, Colton Schultz was born, right?
Yeah.
And Colton Schultz wrestles Greco. And then you have Mijan Lopez Nunez from Cuba, who's a 3-time Olympic gold medalist, right? He's going to be going for his 4th this year.
Yeah.
Colton Schultz did not make the Olympic team last time because he was like 14, right? If he makes it this time and he makes it all the way to the finals and he knocks him off, is that possible?
Yeah, I'd say it's possible. He's a real good Greco wrestler. More power to the guy.
Yeah. Oh no, I just felt like I had to call
If that happens, you should have a job at Flow Wrestling.
Yeah.
Just that's it.
No, if that happens, I'm bringing up that post.
Yeah, definitely. Because you made sure you made a post about it before, just in case.
I saved it too. You know, now we can get into the segment we like to call Derek's Dumbass Questions.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my favorite segment of Derek's Dumbass Questions. All right. So, obviously, we're Heavyweight Nation. At some point, we got to bring up food with the big boys around here. So, you're not somebody who cuts weight at all. I mean, you've never cut weight in your whole high school career. So, if you could have one cheat meal, what's your go-to?
Cheat meal. I'm a big cake guy. I like chocolate cake. Can't go wrong with that. And steak. Steak's my favorite food, I should say.
All right.
What type of steak?
Type of steak. When it comes to type of steak, I'm not too picky about that, but you can't do steak sauce. I was talking to Kyle Snyder. I remember talking to Kyle Snyder about it like 2 years ago. And he said something like, if you have steak sauce on your steak, you're not a real steak fan.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've just been going by that the whole time.
Yeah.
Can't do steak sauce.
Yeah, I see that. But yeah, it's interesting. We haven't heard that answer yet. I remember Trent Hilger said, what was it? Oreo ice cream.
A gallon of Oreo ice cream in a spoon. Evan Wick was a pack of double stuffed Oreos.
I think everybody else was birthday fries.
Everyone else said a big ass burger. That was everyone else's response. I forgot what Don Bradley said.
Don Bradley said he doesn't do cheat meals.
Oh yeah, Don Bradley says I don't do cheat meals. I'm like, all right, dog, whatever you say, bud.
I respect that.
Yeah. So number 2 is what's like? Okay, so what do you eat after your weigh-ins?
After my weigh-ins, I don't really splurge or anything because I can eat all the way up to weigh-ins. So I just eat normal eggs and stuff.
So it'd be like, what would be like a normal like meal you'd see yourself eating like after weigh-in?
Usually like eggs, pancakes, stuff like that, Pop-Tarts, whatever I'm feeling.
Pop-Tarts. Who said Pop-Tarts? Somebody said that was their post weigh-in too.
Zach Elam.
Oh yeah, Zach Elam said that. Yes, yeah. He goes, yeah, I usually eat a Pop-Tart.
That's crazy.
All right.
You're obviously eating like healthy for the most part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like extremely lean. You're obviously following like a real diet plan. Like how many calories a day is that?
Do I eat calories a day?
Yeah.
I don't keep track of that. I just, for the most part, not on a diet really. Just eat a lot.
Damn, so you're just naturally like that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Eat a lot, lift a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right.
I do that.
So number 3, we kind of change these up every time. So number 3, we're gonna go with who's your favorite practice partner? If you could pick one person from in that Penn State room that you have the best practices with, who you taking?
I wouldn't say like they're the hardest practice. Like I get the most out of them are my practices with Kassar. Those are some of my favorite. And Snyder. Those are usually the most high-paced practices.
Is Kassar hitting that double on you? Is he finishing it?
When I first got there, he did get the double leg on me. But I'm doing better at defending that now.
Yeah.
All right. Akil usually likes to ask the same question after question number 3, so go ahead.
Oh yeah. What are some of your hobbies outside of wrestling?
Some of my hobbies. I So I'm gonna fight after college or after an Olympic cycle. So I like to box, jiu-jitsu, stuff like that. Not a huge video game guy, but hang out with friends.
All right. The end all be all, the favorite question that everybody likes. If you could take 4 of your Penn State teammates and bring them into the zombie apocalypse with you, which 4 are you taking with you?
4 teammates into the zombie apocalypse.
And why? We have to get a good explanation on why each one.
I'm gonna take Joey Bloomer because he's just a crazy guy, and it'd be a lot of fun, and I'd most definitely survive with him. I'd take Brady Berge. He would definitely keep us all in check. And I'd take Aaron Brooks because I've known him for so long, and funny guy, definitely would survive. Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Then I'd take Carter Strachey. Just another tough guy.
Yeah, I made a point last time. I'm like, could you just imagine a zombie getting blast doubled by Don Bradley?
Or Anthony Cassar, just the
It's
black
like-
double.
Nah, after what Don Bradley did to Cassar, I don't know, but
Whoa. All right.
we're not bringing that up.
Yeah, well, thank you again, Greg, for coming on this show. We really do appreciate it, and wish you the best of luck. Hopefully we'll be able to catch up with you after the national tournament and everything.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. So, yeah, this has been episode 24 of Late Night Shots, and we will see you guys again tomorrow.